Consistency is the quiet force behind every remarkable achievement. The foundation upon which great lives are built. It's not the thunderous roar of motivation that makes dreams come true, but the steady, persistent rhythm of daily discipline. Motivation is fleeting, an emotional spark that can fade as quickly as it ignites. Discipline, in contrast, is the engine that keeps you moving forward when motivation wanes, when obstacles arise, when the journey feels endless. Imagine a young man named Samuel who dreamed of becoming a marathon runner. He wasn't born an athlete. His body was average, his stamina unremarkable, but Samuel was captivated by the idea of crossing that finish line, arms raised in triumph. At first, his motivation was sky high. He bought new running shoes, mapped out routes, and announced his goal to friends. For the first week, he ran every morning, exhilarated by the challenge. But as dawns grew colder and his muscles ached, the initial excitement began to fade. One rainy morning, he considered staying in bed. Just one day off, he thought, but he remembered something his coach had told him. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Samuel forced himself out the door, not because he felt like running, but because he had made a commitment to himself. Day after day, he ran. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes barely shuffling forward. He missed parties, sacrificed sleep, and endured blisters and sore knees. The difference wasn't in grand gestures, but in the smallest choices. Lacing up his shoes even when he didn't want to, showing up regardless of how he felt. Over weeks and months, something profound happened. The act of running daily became a habit, a non-negotiable part of his life. His body grew stronger, his mind more resilient. He learned that true progress was measured not by bursts of energy, but by the quiet accumulation of effort. It's easy to be inspired at the outset of a journey. The vision is clear, the possibilities endless, but inspiration fades. Life intervenes, work piles up, family needs attention, setbacks occur. The world is full of people who started strong and fizzled out, not because they lacked talent or ambition, but because they relied solely on motivation. They waited for the perfect day, the perfect mood, the perfect opportunity. But perfection never comes. The winners are those who show up day after day, rain or shine, ready or not. Samuel's story isn't unique. Every great achievement, whether it's writing a book, building a business, or mastering a skill, is the result of relentless consistency. Daily discipline is the secret ingredient that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary achievers. It's the quiet voice inside that says, "Do it anyway," even when excuses pile up. It's the decision to practice when no one is watching, to keep going when progress is slow, to repeat the fundamentals until excellence becomes second nature. Consider the legendary pianist who practices scales for hours, long after mastering them, refining technique with patience and persistence. Or the scientist who returns to the lab day after day, undeterred by failed experiments, knowing that each attempt brings her closer to a breakthrough. Think of the writer who fills pages with drafts and rewrites, battling doubt and fatigue, trusting that consistency will shape rough ideas into polished prose. The common thread in all these stories is daily discipline, the willingness to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation is a gift, but it's unreliable. It's influenced by mood, circumstances, and energy. Discipline, on the other hand, is a choice you make again and again. It's the understanding that mastery is built in increments, that progress is the result of tiny victories stacked on top of each other. When you embrace consistency, you build momentum. Each day's effort compounds, making the next step easier. Over time, the process becomes automatic and the results start to speak for themselves. Samuel eventually crossed the finish line of his first marathon, not because he was the fastest, but because he was the most consistent. In that moment, he realized that the real victory wasn't in the medal around his neck, but in the transformation he had undergone. The discipline he cultivated spilled into other areas of his life, making him more reliable, more resilient, more confident. The power of consistency had reshaped his identity. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, don't wait for motivation to strike. Build habits rooted in discipline. Set small, achievable goals and show up every day, whether you feel like it or not. Celebrate the act of showing up, of putting in the work, of honoring your commitment to yourself. The path won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. One day, you'll look back and realize that the discipline you practiced daily was the very thing that fueled your success. Consistency is the bridge between dreams and reality. It's the invisible force that turns intentions into achievements. Embrace it, and you'll discover that the power to change your life lies not in rare moments of inspiration, but in the steady beat of daily discipline.